everyone of Vanlife.
How's it going, everybody?
We're here today to tell you about our adventures driving from southern Ontario through to Alberta in January. So stay tuned. So when we left southern Ontario after Christmas, it was about the first week of January, and our ultimate goal was to get across the country as quick as we could out to BC, well, Banff and then BC, because we knew the weather would be much better out on the coast, and frankly, Ontario was miserable. Very, very cold temperatures, snow every other day, and we knew that was our best bet. So we set out as fast as we could. It took us, 3 days to get out of the province?
3 days to get out of Ontario. It was a long, cold drive, but we made it.
Few little snow squalls and snowstorms. It was mostly the temperature that kind of killed us.
Yeah, like when we got to Sudbury, it was freezing. It was like -40. We could go for like a walk for maybe like 20 minutes, like right by this like lake that was there. But as you guys probably know too, we got on the news just from staying there.
Yeah, they thought we were nuts to be in the RV in -40, and we survived. That diesel heater got us through. But yeah, so very quickly we went through the northern Ontario, and apparently up there the big thing is to have a giant animal in every city. So the only things we really saw were the giant Wawa goose. We saw the Winnie the Pooh monument in White River, and then Husky the Muskie, which is a giant fish in Kenora. And other than that, there's nothing up there. So we just powered on through.
Going to like Thunder Bay, there's some nice views. I'll put some pictures. Like it's kind of like mountains because you're basically on some cliffs around top of like Lake Superior, and you can't really see too much, but it's a nice long drive, but it's very long, very long.
Cold.
And cold. That's right.
So then we hit Manitoba, and we got to Winnipeg, stayed one night there. Not much, to do in the freezing weather. So then we went going across the prairies, and man, did it get flat, eh?
Yeah, there's not much happening out there. We did stop in Regina because a friend of ours lived there, so we got to stay there.
Childhood friend, yeah.
For a couple days, which was kind of nice to.
And sleep in the house, which was really awesome after all those cold nights.
But we kept going. We went and got to Alberta and stayed in Medicine Hat, which is a nice little town. And actually that day was like pretty warm.
It was like +8 when we got there. It was the first day that I felt like I could feel the sun.
Yeah, we found a park there and walked around there and stayed in a Walmart there. So that was pretty cool. But the next day it was just freezing again.
Freezing cold again. So then we kind of just barreled right through to our next stop was Calgary. Yeah. And we had to kind of stock up before we went into Banff. Like we needed groceries and we needed diesel, all the things, water. So we spent 2 nights there, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we did find a nice park there that had like a couple lakes, and one of them was like a skating rink, and it was freezing there too, so we were all bundled up. We could only walk for
but
like 20 minutes.
But they had campfires too, which was really cool. So up at the front where the skating rink was, kind of like if you've ever been to Blue Mountain, they've got the big metal cages in the middle of the town with the campfires. So that was pretty cool.
And there was like just deers everywhere, like literally
like 20 feet away.
20 feet away everywhere. So that was really cool, which were, even coming across, we noticed that Kenora. Doesn't really happen as much in Ontario, but
I don't even remember what town we were in. We were walking the dog, and I said, "Josh, a deer," because we have to be careful with the dog. He gets a little excited sometimes, and he goes, "Where?" And I go, "On the front steps of that apartment building, like literally in the middle." It was on the front walkway of the apartment building. Kind of crazy. We're not used to that. Like back in Ontario, we have deer, but not in the middle of town, right? But yeah, basically, we left Calgary and we headed for the mountains because that was where we wanted to be. That was our ultimate goal, and yeah. It was a trip. It was a cold trip across the country. We were those crazy people who did it in January, but we survived and we got out to the mountains, and that's coming up next.
So from Calgary, we were gonna go to Banff, and I was pretty excited because one of the big things about this whole trip was I always wanted to see the mountains. I'd never been out west before, and holy cow! So the first part when we were in Calgary, you couldn't really see the mountains, and then like the first day I should say, and then we kind of went west around Calgary and stayed at like a Walmart on the other side, and I didn't realize that you could see the mountains from Calgary.
From
like,
Calgary,
the next day
like
we
they're
get up,
just on the
and
horizon.
we're like driving up this highway, and Sam's like, "Oh, look, there they are!" And I look, I'm like, "Holy cow, there they are! They're finally there!" And
well, they're so massive.
it was amazing to see. Like, I remember we stopped to get gas, and I was like trying to get the gas in the things. I was like in the van, 'cause I was like, "Oh, I want to go. I want to get there."
It's a spectacular
So
drive.
Driving, and it's not even that far. It's like, I don't know,
An hour and 20 minutes, I
maybe.
think.
It didn't feel that long to me, but as we were just driving up, it was very windy. That was the one thing as we were driving up to them. But once we got in the mountains, I didn't find it was that windy. But you're driving up to it and just seeing these things,
They just like start to
it's
rise
humbling, you know,
out of
but
the earth. when
very
you drive
calming.
out
I
of Calgary.
found, like, I don't know. I guess it lived up to the hype of seeing it. You know, you're looking up. Once again,
That's what drew me back. That's how we ended up doing
I always say
this.
is like, I'm driving, I'm just like looking at stuff. I gotta be like, oh yeah, I gotta pay attention because just so much cool stuff. We didn't see that many animals.
No, not
but,
really in Banff at all.
Going
to be
through
honest.
it, and once we kind of got right before Banff, got to Canmore, and it started snowing a bit there.
Yeah.
Which was like, of course, as soon as we get here, it starts snowing. But it was fine though. We drove, we got to the cutoff, and then we went to the almighty Banff, and Sam will tell you about that.
Oh man, I had been there before. It was in the summer, and it's just as busy in the winter because obviously it's a big ski place. But oh man, so beautiful. Like, it was a whole new perspective for me, like going from seeing it in August to seeing it in January, and just so beautiful. We loved the downtown, as touristy and kitschy as it is. There is so many coffee shops and restaurants, and oh man, we really enjoyed it. Of course, Hendrix was like the life of the party again.
Yeah,
like everybody
we
wanted
walked
to stop
downtown
and see
every
him.
day, like no
Yeah.
matter what.
We would try a different coffee shop. We were there for 5 days total. We tried to try like a different coffee shop every afternoon for part of our walk. We'd do like a bigger, more like nature walk, and then we'd go and walk downtown.
So many
every
trails,
day.
like just you could basically. We were there for like 5 days, and we did a different trail. Like, there's one where like just off the main street where you can like
like right
down.
out of the village.
And then we saw like just some elks on the side of this river, and there's like a bridge that goes over that you can. We were gonna go to this one place where there was some stairs, but it was like the snow.
There
just
wasn't really
decimated it,
stairs
so
left. It was just like a snowy
it was
incline.
fine. Though. It was fine.
Yeah, it was so cool. And then we got to our campground, which was Tunnel Mountain, which is one of our national park campgrounds. It's actually the only national park camping that's open in the winter and in Canada.
Yep.
And it was like mountain. Like, we were surrounded.
Every morning I get up to take him and be like, oh
yeah, I'm in the
most
mountains.
beautiful place in the world right now.
Snowy, like, we actually, where the campsites were, they were really small, and even in the summer you kind of just pull up in front of it, but then you'd have a piece of grass with like a picnic table and like your post with your hydro, but it was under 4 feet of snow, so all you did was like pull up in front and just run your cord in. That was all
there
you
was a
could
good
really
fair
do.
amount,
Yeah.
like probably like 10 to 15 people every day, all kind of
Yeah,
spread
it was
through the
busy.
area.
It was
People
busy.
car camping, which like blows my mind. Like, but I guess like if you're traveling, you're just staying the night.
I just always wonder what their
right?
heat source is.
Yeah.
Like, they obviously don't have a built-in diesel heater, like we said, that kept us so.
And it wasn't
cozy.
that. I didn't find there. It was as cold. It was like kind of one of the
Like around 0 at night, it would dip
but,
down, but it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
And speaking of Tunnel Mountain Campground, which is where we stayed, we actually hiked Tunnel Mountain one day, and that was definitely a hike. We even joked we would not have been able to do it if we were still smokers. Like, we quit smoking 4 years ago now.
It was definitely.
It was
pushed me to my limits. Like, I got to the top, and like I don't know, I was out of breath. Like, I could still, like, I was fine, but it was definitely.
It just zigzagged
and like this guy,
back and forth.
This guy, I was
up the
like,
mountain.
because like it's probably like an hour to go up, And like halfway through, I'm like, man, is this guy gonna make it? Because he's panting, but he just keeps going.
He kept going. He led like
it's so
most
steep,
of the way.
right?
Yeah.
It's very steep, but you get to the top and it's super rewarding. Like the views, I think probably like 4 or 5 times I took photos of Banff up the mountain.
Yeah.
And I'll put those in for sure because that was amazing. But yeah, it was tough. Honestly, I thought it was harder going down.
It was really slippy. It actually led to us buying a set of hiking poles that we can use if we run into slippery conditions again, because everyone else had them and they were able to like, yes, like cleats on your shoes are good, but like they were able to kind of like, as they went down, because like a lot of it was kind of steep, right? And if you don't have anything to hold on to or brace yourself, you're just sliding on your butt, like literally, right?
It was awesome. I think because it was like cold the day before and snowed, and then the next day it
got sunny and warm again.
So it kind of melts it and makes it a little more slippery, but it was fine.
It was awesome. It was a really good hike. Yeah, I think it was like 5 kilometers total up and down. Yeah.
And then the next day we went downtown. Yeah, we went down just on outside of downtown. We found this like free parking for anybody that is also doing driving around in a van.
Yeah, by the old train station.
There's free
in
parking.
Banff.
Yeah, you can't stay there all night.
Parking lot.
But you can literally just park there all day, and it's like a 2-minute walk to downtown.
I think 8 hours at a time.
Yeah, but it was awesome because
they had an ice rink.
They had an ice rink, and I was like, man, I've been on skates. Like I grew up playing hockey and skating every day, and I've been on skates. I would say almost 10 years.
10 years probably.
So we rented some skates, which was a little bit expensive, but whatever. I mean, it's fine. Money is.
At some point, you just got to do stuff, right? We don't spend a lot on stuff when we're touring big cities like that. So for us to pay to rent skates was nothing.
So we went skating for about an hour, and it was amazing. Like the skating came right back to me, which I should have known. You know, the skates were very stiff, so I wasn't pushing it.
They were
too
brand
hard.
new. We might have been the first people ever to wear these hockey skates. Yeah.
But no, it was. You're just skating in there's mountains all around.
Yeah, it was really beautiful. It was sunny, and they had a bonfire going there too.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really nice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was a really fun experience.
Yeah, Banff is definitely on our way back to Alberta. We're definitely going to hit that up again.
Yeah, I highly recommend it in the summer or the winter. It's a bit different. Like what you do can be a little bit different, but it was really, really cool. Oh, and the other thing there's snow sculptures everywhere.
Yeah.
Massive snow sculptures. So that was really cool. I think just because it was winter and they had Christmas stuff up, and then they'd had all these snow sculptures, and yeah, I've got a few photos of those we can put in too, but they were really, really neat. It's very touristy as long as you're not like overwhelmed by lots of people, but we just wore a mask and stayed outside, and it was great. Yeah.
We're on top of Tunnel Mountain in Banff right now.
Woo.
Holy cow, we just climbed a mountain. It's serious. But like I said, if you gotta get to the top of a mountain, you gotta go up the mountain, right? Whew.
Freshest air you'll ever breathe.
That's right. Hey buddy, you made it.
Well, of course, as usual, we've got a story from the road for you, and this one's kind of fun. We decided just after we left Banff and we're heading to BC that we would go stay at this hostel up in the mountains. It was pretty cheap, and it had, a bathroom, offered us a shower, whatever you need. And it was really good weather. We were coming through the BC mountains, and we went to go up the driveway, and it was nice, clean gravel, no snow at all, like hardly except in the field. And once we got about 5 kilometers up the mountain, we hit snow, which we kind of knew would happen, but it wasn't terrible. And as we went farther and farther, because I think we had to go about 7 kilometers total up this road, it got snowier and snowier, and the road got narrower and narrower, and we actually got to one part, and the GPS was telling me we were like 500 yards from the hostel. They were actually the end of the road.
What was the name?
Raven Ridge. It was actually a really cool place. In the summer, they do camping and raves and like outdoor concerts and stuff. During the winter,
check it out.
During the winter, it's just like if you want to basically go up in your car like we did our RV, but I wouldn't recommend RVs because we got stuck, of course.
Yeah.
So we were doing really good, and I could like almost see the place at the end of the laneway, and we went around this corner and we both kind of looked at each other and were like, should we go any farther? And I guess after us kind of debating for a minute or two, Josh started to drive, I guess, and we got up and went to make a turn. And as we went to make a slight turn, and we were on just a bit of an incline, not even that much, the van started to slide backwards, and we started sliding. And what happened was the back corner of the van caught the snowbank on the side. So we couldn't drive forward because our tires were spinning, and we couldn't back up because the snowbank had caught the back bumper. So at first we were like, well, we'll dig the back bumper out, because if we can back up, we thought maybe we could get some momentum and go. But eventually I ended up just going up and getting the people that own the hostel, and he actually laughed. He goes, I know exactly where you're stuck. We call that the luge. And I was thinking that would have been really good to know before we started driving up it.
Yeah.
But he came down with his tractor, and I've got a little video. You can see he hooked the front of us up, and he was just spinning.
At first he couldn't pull us up, and then he was like, okay, 1 second. And then he went and got some tire chains, tire chains.
Yes.
And we put them on, and that helped immensely.
And then he was able to get us out.
He pulled us out up a bit, and then I backed out, and he said, go back down to my driveway, and then now when you get to that spot, because you have the tire chains,
just keep going.
Keep going. Don't gun it. And lo and behold, the tire chains got all the way up, and I was like, the whole time.
Thank God they had the tractor though, because I think that helped.
At first, I was definitely not happy, but I was holding my composure. Sam was asking me if I'm okay. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm just trying not to freak out because
And to be honest, I figured it was going to happen eventually, whether it was mud, sand, snow, that we would get the van stuck somewhere.
But anyway, so we made it up and we stayed the night, and it was cool. We woke up and you go to the outhouse.
It was like right looking out on the snowy forest.
Yeah, looking at like pretty much you're on a mountain going to the washroom. It was a really nice view.
And moral of the story is we went and bought tire chains the next
pretty
day.
Much the next couple days, yeah. So
in case we ever get stuck and we're not lucky enough to have someone there with a tractor and tire chains to help us, we now have our own, so don't worry.
And that's been another
story from the road.
Well, this is van life to its finest. We're in the BC mountains. It is a beautiful frosty morning. And I just did my morning business in this lovely little outhouse that has no door. You just sit and have a look-see out at the forest. And I'll tell you, it's not a bad view for first thing in the morning. It is just lovely. It's foggy and beautiful.
All right, everybody, that's been this episode of Once Upon a Van Life, of us being crazy people and traveling in negative 40-degree weather and snowstorms and going through the mountains all the way to Banff. And our next episode will be BC, because that's where we are right now, just like the first part of BC.
Yeah.
But make sure you like and subscribe. There's a little bell down there you gotta hit. And we'll see you next time.